Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn and I am so excited about this week's episode. As always, at the time of releasing this episode, I will have just finished my first video and photo wedding of the season, where I led photo. I had a team that was leading video. Last week I did an episode about adding photography on the podcast, and so this week I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper on building a portfolio over perfection, and kind of digging into how I built a six-figure look before I had the actual clients. This morning I got an email from a planner. I had already booked the video, pretty high-end wedding. They're already spending a good chunk of money. I think they're in a 16 to 18K range for just video. And they asked about adding photography, and just added a $10,000 photo package to the wedding. So that will be a $26,000 to $30,000 wedding at this point, based off of some add-ons. And I sit here and I just think, how is this happening? And I also got a message from one of our former mastermind students this week, just talking about how hard it has been to get bookings and missing the mark in places and wondering what's going wrong. And I think there's a lot of stuff going on in the market, and I'm going to do some more episodes on that and how to really make sure you're closing with your sales. But I think a lot of it has to do with some of the things I'm going to talk about today. So before we get into today's episode, I do want to talk to you about our friends over at MusicBed. If you did not know, MusicBed is the place to license music for your wedding films. Nick and I have used MusicBed exclusively for the last decade. We have their subscription, and we download songs that fit the vibe and the feel of the couples that we're working with. I don't know about you, but I've wasted a lot of time looking for music, and MusicBed has integrated new tools, AI tools, and different things to help you pick songs for your work quickly. And I just listen to MusicBed all the time. I have playlists saved and favorites saved, and it just really helps me when talking to my editors to have music ready to go. So if you want to check out all the promos for MusicBed, head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed to check that out today. So as I mentioned, building a portfolio that attracts your dream client doesn't require perfection. And I want to talk to you about something that I think is holding a lot of creative people back, and that is the idea that your portfolio has to be perfect before you can start charging what you're worth. When I added photography to my business, I didn't have years of photo experience or a long list of paying clients. What I did have was a clear vision of who I wanted to serve, and I built my portfolio around that. And so today I'm going to walk you through exactly how I did 25 free sessions, how I made sure those sessions actually moved my brand forward, and how I booked and have booked now multiple $10,000 plus weddings in my very first season as a photographer. So whether you're a videographer, a planner, a florist, a baker, a photographer, whatever, this episode is for anyone who wants to show up like the brand that they're becoming, not just the brand that they're leaving behind. And I think that that's really important as we get into today's episode, is not having to have a perfect portfolio already, but how to go make a portfolio to attract those ideal people. So the first point I want to talk to you about today is that you can't build the right portfolio if you don't know who it's for. I'm going to say that again. You can't build the right portfolio if you don't know who it's for. What do I mean by that? So before I shot anything when adding photo to my brand, I got very hyper clear on my ideal client. I've talked about ideal clients a lot on the podcast here, but I really dug into the style, the budget, the venues, who influenced their decisions, and I think that for me, I really had to do a deep dive and get really almost selfish with identifying exactly what that is, what that was, what that meant. And so for me, I knew that I had to build the right portfolio before I had the ideal clients. And so if you don't know who you're aiming at, you're not going to hit them. And so I went in deep. I learned exactly the kinds of clients I loved working with. I got crystal clear on who that was. And that made it so much easier for me to say, these are the kinds of people I want to work with. So how can I reverse engineer that and turn that into bookings that I actually want? And so, I did a lot of things, but before I shot anything, I really got hyper clear on that ideal client. I knew where they shopped, the kind of quality of life that they lived, the hotels they stay at, the venues that they go to, the venues that they want to get married at, the planners that they're hiring. And I really said, I'm not going to just showcase a lot of different types of photos. I'm going to showcase the right people that have the right friend groups, and I'm going to showcase the right style. And I would tell the couple, let's do an elevated styled shoot or an elevated session. Downtown. And so dress up a little bit nicer, go on a nice date afterwards, that kind of thing. And I would say, let's do a comfortable but elevated session at this rose garden or whatever it was. But I was dictating the portfolio, and I went out and made that happen. The number 2 point is that your portfolio is a visual business card. I wasn't just grabbing free shoots. I was curating every opportunity. I looked at my past high-end video couples, researched their networks, and reached out to people who looked and lived like my dream clients. That same mindset applies to every vendor. So show what aligns with where you're going, basically. And that's what I want to really hit on, is that your portfolio is your visual business card. I think a lot of us think we have to show everything that we shoot. We owe it to our clients, that sort of things. And I try to show something from every shoot, from every wedding. But if you're wanting to get hyper-focused on attracting the right kinds of people, it's a 6 to 18 month process of continually showing up before you see results. And I said it last week, but I committed to 6 months of really pushing photography to kind of see where I was at. My very first session was in September, and by like January or February, so not even 6 months, I had 6 or 7 really good bookings, and now I've gotten even more bookings and more confidence, and I'm off to the races. And as I've just finished my first photo wedding, I now have lots of images, and I have everything, the portfolio that I was building towards. I've booked these kinds of couples, and now I'm able to show that kind of work, which is only going to elevate the type of work that I'm going to get to do. And so, videographers out there, if you don't have the proper portfolio, it's really hard for you, or photographers or planners. Like, you really want to be able to have a portfolio over a perfection in your brand. And to me, that's so very important. So the first point, you can't build the right portfolio if you don't know who it's for. Get very intentional. Who are you wanting to work for? Why? What matters to you? Who my perfect couple is different than yours. Don't aim at everybody. Don't just aim at people with a pulse, and really think about this portfolio, whether on your website, on your social media. The work you're putting out there is your visual business card, and people need to be able to jump on your social media and scroll pretty quickly and say, this is the vibe of John Bunn Films. These are the colors that he uses. This is the style. It's very documentary, or it's very posed, or whatever it is. They need to know exactly your style. If you're, a planner and you're out there and you're just like doing all kinds of different weddings, it's confusing to a bride if she's wanting to do an elopement. So really think about who it is you want to work for, and then build that visual business card, that portfolio, so that will attract those people. When they come to your Instagram or when they come to your website, is the visual business card screaming at them? Before moving on to our third point for today, I do want to talk about VidFlow, our friends over there. VidFlow has been incredible in me being able to showcase my portfolio, to deliver to clients. If you don't know, they do video and photo delivery. They have hybrid galleries. You can upload your videos, your photos to one gallery and embed that into your website, or just send a link straight to your clients, where clients can download all of the imagery. They can back up their footage. You can really wow them with custom brand colors, custom logos. all that kind of stuff. So I get done with projects, I upload everything to VidFlow, and then I'm able to embed that into my site, send that over to my couples, and they're wowed right away. If you want to check out the best promos for VidFlow, check out howtofilmweddings.com/VidFlow. So as we're talking today about building a portfolio and it not needing to be perfect, like I didn't have a perfect portfolio and I don't have a perfect portfolio yet. But I built the 6-figure look before I had the clients, and now I'm starting to see the benefit of that, especially in my photo business. And so what that kind of looks like to me, I booked a couple of photo weddings. I booked one in Mexico for later this year at a ridiculously low price. But when they inquired, I had 0 photo bookings. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, it's a gorgeous couple in a gorgeous resort in Cancun, and it's later this year. And I just know the couple was super sweet. They were so thankful that I gave them a great deal. They weren't looking for a crazy great deal, and they see the value that I bring. So it matched. They're doing an incredible event in Mexico, and it's just like, that's going to be great for my portfolio. So you make decisions that can help your portfolio, but don't live in the area of your business where you're constantly giving out free things. Like I would not book a cheap or free event at this point because my portfolio has been built. So our first point, as I mentioned, you can't build the right portfolio if you don't know who it's for. The second, your portfolio is a visual business card. And number 3, it kind of goes along with what I'm saying, is free work works. And I have a little caveat there. Free work works if you're strategic. I did so many free photo sessions, but it wasn't random. I did post on my social media and say I'm looking for some models, looking for engaged or dating couples that are in the Tulsa area. And if people said I'm available, I would go in, and you can judge me if you want, but I would go in and look and see who their mutual friends were of mine and see what their images already looked like and see if that is the vibe of people that I want to eventually sell to. And I can't tell you how many DMs I sent to people that I thought had a great vibe and said, would you be interested in doing a session? But it was definitely not random. Every shoot was designed to help me speak to one audience, a high-end, style-forward, emotionally driven audience. Like that's who I was going for. And so, like with what I'm aiming at, part of my ethos and my goals, I only want to shoot a certain number of weddings, and I need a certain amount of money to survive and to thrive in my family. So whenever I was looking at my ideal buyers, that kind of really focused in and helped me get clear on who I wanted to work with. I really enjoy couples that are somewhere, in a price range that's elevated, but not so super luxury that they don't want anything to do with me. And so all these things factor in. And whenever I was building out the free work, I wanted to aim directly at those people. I'd already built out the brand for John Bunn Films, and I was like, okay, if I were starting a brand over today, and this may be a good advice for you if you're newer, is I would get really stingy about going after the kinds of work you want to do and give it away for free, or give away a couple of styled shoot type things, something to where you go make it happen, go get that wedding, go get that on your portfolio, and then really use it to your benefit as that visual business card. So free work works. And I did those 25 to 30 free photo sessions. And every shoot was designed to help me speak to my audience. And you can do this with all kinds of creative films or creative setups or different things. Like, go after the people that you want to work with. And sometimes free work just works. And it's if you're strategic. The next point I want to talk about is curating like a pro, even if you're new. I don't post everything, and I didn't post everything. I posted the right things. And my portfolio for photo was smaller, but it felt premium because I only shared what fit in the aesthetic of what I was aiming for and what I wanted to be known for. And you might ask yourself, what do you want to be known for? What do you want people to think of when they think of your brand? If it's just a wedding photographer or a wedding videographer or whatever you're doing, I don't feel like that's enough. Like, I want people to think a certain way when they think about John Bunn films. And so I built a curated portfolio even when I was new. My very first session that I did, I messed up a bunch of things. I actually shot with the shutter speed wrong, and a lot of the images were blurry. But I had about 4 or 5 really good images in a half-hour session, and I used those. My color was off. I forgot to do a couple of things. Everything was. I didn't do a great job. It was okay, but like, I probably took 400 images, and there were maybe 4 to 10 that like were really usable that I did a good job after the edit. I didn't know how to edit as well back then. There was just a lot of stuff. But I was able to curate, saying these 4 or 5 images now are tools for me to reach out to the next couple and say, hey, I want to do images for you. Here's a session I just did. Third-party credibility. It shows them, oh, he does photos. This is what his work looks like. And I kept doing more and more sessions. I learned that if I could upload the photos to VidFlow and have a custom gallery, and then whenever I reached out to somebody, said, hey, I want to do photos for you. Here's a link or two to some recent shoots I did. They could then see my style, and that would make them trust me and say, oh, I'll do a free session with you. And now if I were to reach out to people and say, can I give you a free session? Yeah, they would say yes, because I have dozens of posts on my social media feed and all over my website about weddings and about engagement sessions and bridal sessions. And so the fourth point, you've got to curate like a pro. Think about your grid. Think about your feed. Think about your website. Is it really screaming at the ideal people that you really want to work with? And if you haven't determined those people, and if you haven't leaned into curating that feed and really thinking about your portfolio as a visual business card, you're not being strategic, and you're not taking the steps. And number 5, I really want to lean in on this one for a second. Perfection slows you down, but curation speeds you up. I want you to think about that for a second. If you're waiting to post until it's perfect, you're going to wait to post forever. But if you're posting something that's curated for now, the best you've got, the most curated that you've got, you've worked through those ideal couples, that's when you're going to start to see progress. And I look at work even of mine from 7-8 months ago to now, so much more proud of the work I'm doing. I've seen myself grow a lot. And as we're talking about perfection slowing you down, I didn't wait until I had everything dialed in. I started with what I had. And maybe that for you is a wedding film or a wedding coming up that you're planning, or whatever it is. You're out there and you're like, this wedding is going to be a great one. Oh, the couple didn't have a budget for a second shooter, but I know if I had a second shooter, it would just make such a big difference. Invest in the second shooter or whatever it is, or pay for that extra teaser edit or whatever. And really think about curating that feed over perfection. So if you're waiting till you have everything exactly dialed in, you're not going to be taking those steps. And you have to start with what you have in your hand. So confidence is very important, and that comes from taking action and learning fast, not from sitting on the sidelines waiting for perfection. So if you want to be more confident, like I'm much more confident as a photographer, but I'm also growing as a photographer. I'm really confident as a videographer, and I'm growing still, but I can't make somebody that's filming their first wedding feel as confident as I have, because I've shot 500 of them and I've messed up a lot of times. And now after all these years, it's helped me to be sped up, and it's helped me to have a curation mindset instead of a perfection mindset. My final, I'm going to do a bonus point. Before we do that, though, I want to talk real quick about our outsourcing partners at howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing. If you didn't know, I've been talking a little bit about it during the episode, but I outsource my edits to one of our outsourcing partners, brideandgroom.video. There's several on our list to give you options. There's Story Mix Media. There's a couple others. And basically, the outsourcing link on our website is for you, so you can look at work and decide Will these people be able to help me edit my films? I can't tell you how awesome it is for me to have a partner in brideandgroom.video for editing my films. I'm finishing a wedding film and I'm sending it to brideandgroom.video, and now I have a team of people that's working on my films with me. Took a little while to get things dialed in, but now I can be the director that I want to be. And so if you feel like editing isn't your favorite thing, or you're feeling overwhelmed with backlog, check out howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing. It's sure to help you to not be stressed around your edits, and also help you be more creative if editing really isn't your thing. So check out howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing for more details. My final bonus point, and before we wrap things up today, is you want to treat every free session, every free thing that you're doing, every portfolio builder as if it's a $10,000 plus booking in my situation. You want to treat it like it is the end result. Treat every free session like it's the end result. Fill in the blank for your dollar. So for me, I want to treat every free photo session like it's part of a $10,000 plus photo package. Just because it was free didn't mean I treated it casually. I gave every free client the same attention and experience and follow-up as if they were paying top dollar. And like I mentioned last week, 2 of those sessions now have turned into very big bookings, and every vendor can build this kind of trust by showing up all in. And that's something that I think that a lot of us don't do. We walk into, maybe you're a $3,000 you charge $3,000, or your work is new. So you walk into a wedding thinking I'm not valuable, or I don't add more value than this $3,000 or this $1,500 or whatever it is. And maybe you don't, but no one's going to pay you more until you believe that you are worth more. Ask yourself, what do I need to do to be worth more? Do I need to learn color grading better? Do I need a mentor session? Do I need to learn how to edit better? Do I need to outsource my films? Do I need better branding? Do I need to hire someone to help me find my ideal avatar? Like, whatever it is. But if you're just waiting for perfection to happen, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. That's where you have to take steps. That's where you have to move forward and make mistakes and fail fast. And I can't express enough. Like, I've failed a lot already with my photo business, but the journey so far has looked like September, I decided to do my first photo session for free. October, I really started pushing. October, November, December, I did 20 or so sessions in the cold, in the fall, in the January months, the February months. Like, I just went all in. And now on the other side of it, the future version of me would call John from 9 months ago and say, dude, it's awesome. You're going to love this. You're going to grow a lot. You're going to be so excited. You're going to feel so creative, and your bank account is going to be full. And that's what's really fun about this for me is if all I was doing was aiming at everybody, I'd probably feel a little overwhelmed or feel like I don't love this. But because I identified who I really, really want to work with, my schedule is full of weddings with clients that are fun for me to be around, that respect me and think that I'm valuable. And because of the brand that I've built, they look at me and say, he's worth every bit of $25,000, $30,000 to be at our wedding. They're happy to pay me top dollar. And there's just something about it. Whenever those checks come in, it's not just about the money. Like the wedding days themselves, I feel this freedom to create and be a creator and to take photos and videos that are fun and like dream a little bit. And there's room in the budget to bring that third shooter if I want, or that behind the scenes person if I want, or that drone operator, whatever it is. So money is no longer the barrier, and money is just money to me. I like making money, but I like knowing that there's plenty of it and that I don't have to say yes to something that I don't want to do. And I think that's where the real freedom has come in for me, is knowing that every month this year and now all the way into the middle of next year, all of my bills are accounted for, plus some, plus retirement, plus vacations, plus all these things. And my schedule is filled with people that I'm just absolutely stoked to go film their weddings or photograph their weddings. And the people that inquire are more of that. And the more that you get this going, that flywheel starts turning to where I can now post more work from ideal clients. And now more of my ideal clients see that work and their friends see that work, and the value goes up. The supply and demand changes to where I need to raise my prices, and I'm able to make more every single year because I have this plan in place. So before we head out today, I just want to remind you to build a portfolio, like have a great portfolio over perfection. If you're wanting to build a brand, you have to have the look for that brand before you have the clients. You have to start first with you and your mindset and your brand, and then you put that out into the world. Then you sow that seed, you water it, you weed, you make sure that it's good. You put all the effort into growing that brand, and sooner than later it will sprout up and you will start really reaping the benefit of your hard work and your labor. And sometimes there's life that gets in the way. Sometimes there's things that gets in the way. But if you're not focused, if you don't know the direction you're heading in, that is where you're going to spin around like you're in a boat with just one paddle. And so the more that you can dig into these things, the more that you can really know where you're heading, the better you're going to be in your brand. So if this has been a helpful episode to you, shoot me a DM over at John Bunn Films and just tell me what you think. I'm really excited about a lot of things that are coming up. We've got big announcements coming soon, some changes coming in over here in the How to Film Weddings world that I'm really excited to share with you. But all good things coming. Lots of great new education, lots of great things happening. But as you're going on in your week, take a minute, do some inventory, and ask yourself, am I doing these things? Do I know who I'm building my portfolio for? Is my mindset that my portfolio is a visual business card? Am I using my network to offer free things if need be, if I'm building a portfolio, or am I curating like a pro, even if I'm new, or if I've done this for a long time? Are you curating and really showing things that really speak to your ideal buyer? And are you focused on perfection? Are you letting perfection slow you down? Because I hope that you're not. I want us to get better with every single post that we put out in the world and every single wedding that we edit. But look at these weddings, especially you that are newer, as really good repetition for you to continue to hone in on your craft, to get paid, to get better as a creator. What a great, awesome world we're in, where we can just keep getting paid to get better and better and get paid more to get even better. So hopefully that is helpful to you. Remember, treat everything you're doing like it is for your ideal number that you're wanting to make, or your ideal product that you're wanting to make. Don't let the boundaries, and I'll say this as this wasn't on script, but like if someone hired you for one day, 6 hours and a 4-minute film, but you know they're going to do a 3-day weekend, and you know that you could have 2 shooters, and you know that in an ideal world, it'd be so much fun if you brought that extra person out and you did that thing. That is another version of treating things like giving a little bit extra so that you can then show your portfolio. Maybe you're deep into your business, but you're wanting to take it to that next level. Maybe you're in the middle market and you're like, how do I get to that next level? Start doing things that are the next level. Change things up. Add that extra shooter, fly that person out that you want to shoot with you, do the drone stuff, do the extra boat night, whatever it is. Do those extra things so that you can then show the next level of your portfolio. And every single year, what I'm doing is I'm doing more of that. I get these opportunities that are incredible, and maybe they're now paying me $20,000 for 2 days, but there's a third day that's this crazy welcome party where they're doing a tour on Jeeps in the mountains or going golfing or whatever. It's like, how much more do I really need to make for that specific project? What would that do for me if I had that in my portfolio for next year? And my mindset is always elevating that every single year so that I am this year creating my portfolio for next year. So when someone says, I want to do what that wedding did over there in Sedona, where you did do that Jeep tour and you did do the golfing, you did the welcome party and you did the rehearsal dinner, what does that package cost? And I can say, oh, that one's my $28,000 package or $25,000, whatever it is. And if you do that every year and just keep elevating it, what you're going to do is you're going to build yourself out of your current market every year and elevate to the next level. And so for me, that's what I'm all about, until you find the exact niche where you want to be. And then you can just start raising your prices for that exact niche. And to me, that's where the magic happens. Knowing things are full, knowing my bank account's full, knowing my schedule's full, gives me that confidence when that new inquiry comes in to then sell with confidence. And that's what I'm going to be digging into in the next couple of episodes. It's really being confident in our sales now that we know how to do it. So thank you so much again. Hope that last little bit was helpful. I think it might have been. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And until next time, we'll see you.